Okay, let's talk about dividing polynomials. All right, so first of all, let's talk about polynomials divided by monomials. So polynomials divided by a monomial. So when polynomials divided by monomial, it's kind of like a fraction. It's like adding fractions but backwards. So we're going in reverse. All right. So let's take an example like this. Example 1. Let's say we have 6x squared y squared plus 12 xy squared minus 9y squared, all over 3, actually I'm going to do it this way, 3x squared y. So all we're going to do with monomials, which is very different from dividing by binomials, is that what we're going to do now is split these up into separate fractions. So it's going to look something like this. 6x squared y squared divided by 3x squared y plus 12xy squared divided by 3x squared y minus 9y squared divided by 3x squared y. So we're just separating into 3 different fractions, and then within each fraction we're going to reduce, just like we did in 5.1, just like we would reduce if it was reducing powers. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. X squared divided by x squared would be 1. And y squared divided by y would be left with just y. Plus 12 divided by 3 is 4. We have an x on top and 2 x's on the bottom. One of the x's cancel. I'm left with an x on the bottom. I have 2 y's on top, 1 y on the bottom. So we're going to have a y left on top. 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then x squared has nothing to reduce itself, so it stays. And then I got 2 y's on top, 1 y on the bottom, so I have a y left on top. So therefore, that would be my answer. I don't need to do anything else. I am done, unless there's other things I can reduce. But there's nothing else we can reduce. Now, you're going to think that maybe we can add these together. Chances are, if the polynomial to begin with doesn't reduce, then after you divide it, it won't reduce as well. Okay? So, next thing we're going to talk about is a polynomial divided by a binomial. Let's use an example like if I had, let's say, example 2. So let's say I have 8x squared plus 4 plus 3x cubed over, I'm going to use x plus 1. So what we will have to do with this is going to be long division. Okay, so I'll show you the work on the right side as we're doing this, but you're going to put this in division. So in long division, so it'll be x plus 1 on the outside. And on the inside, what you want to do is you want to make it so that it is, number 1, power, or the exponent, from greatest to least. And second, you want to insert missing powers. So for example, my 3x cubed is the largest power, then plus 8x squared. And if you notice that my next term should be an x value, and there's no x value, so we're just going to put down plus 0x. Actually, you know what? I'll put this in red so you guys can see that it stands out. And then plus 4. So we will call that a placeholder. And then we start off with our long division. So the first question we're going to ask is, how many times does x go into 3x cubed? So off to the side, you can say 3x cubed divided by x gives me an x, sorry, that is not right. We get a 3x squared. So that will go up here. And I typically would write it above where the x squared term is, okay? So that's step one. Step two is going to be to multiply. So we'll take that 3x squared and we're going to multiply it to x plus 1. And what we're going to get is a 3x cubed plus a 3x squared. So we'll take that and we'll put it right below in line with everything. Step 3, we want to subtract. So when we subtract, we're going to basically flip the signs, or it's like distributing a negative through. So what we'll have here, if you notice that this cancels out, okay, because it's positive 3x cubed minus 3x cubed goes to 0. So there's nothing left. Over here we have 8x squared minus 3x squared, so we get 5x squared. And the fourth step is going to be bringing it down the next term. Then we repeat the same steps all over again. So how many times does x go into 5x squared? So I go 5x squared divided by x, and that gives me 5x. So I'll put down plus 5x. Then we're going to take that 5x and we're going to multiply it with x plus 1. And what we'll get is 5x squared plus 5x. Then we're going to put that here, 5x squared plus 5x. We're going to subtract, so we're going to flip the signs. And what we're going to have left is a negative 5x, because the 5x squared minus 5x squared is 0. Then we bring down the next term, and that's going to be plus 4. So same question again. How many times does x go into 5x, negative 5x? So we go here, negative 5x divided by x, and that's going to give you a negative 5. So we're going to put down negative 5 here. All right, then we're going to take the negative 5 and multiply with x plus 1. And we're going to get negative 5x minus 5. So put it down here, minus 5x minus 5. Then we subtract, so we flip the signs. And what we'll get is a 9. So that's my remainder. So the way I would put my remainder is saying, and since it's positive, we're going to put down plus 9 over x plus 1. So my answer here is 3x squared plus 5x minus 5 plus 9 over x plus 1 would be my answer. There you go. And let me see here. Should we do one more example? Let's do one more example. So example 3 now. All right. So let's use y plus 3 divided by y cubed minus y squared minus 13y minus 10. So first question is, how many times does y go into y cubed? So we come over here, y cubed divided by y equals y squared. So we're going to put down y squared. Then we take y squared and multiply by y plus 3, which is equal to y cubed plus 3y squared. All right, so we're going to write that here, y cubed plus 3y squared. Then we subtract, so flip the signs, add them, and the y cubed minus y cubed goes away. I'm left with a negative 4y squared. Then I'm going to bring the next term down, and that's going to give me a negative 13y. Then I ask myself, how many times does y go into negative 4y squared? Negative 4y squared divided by y gives me a negative 4y. So minus 4y here. Then I want to take that negative 4y and multiply by y plus 3. And I get negative 4y squared minus 12y. So minus 4y squared minus 12y. Then we want to subtract by flipping the signs and add. So the negative 4y squared plus 4y squared goes away. I'm left with a negative 1y. And then the last step is to bring everything down. Bring the next term down, I'm sorry. So now, let's go through the 4 steps again. So same 4 steps. How many times does y go into negative y? So I go negative 1y divided by y gives me a negative 1. So put down negative 1. Step 2, we multiply. So we're going to say negative 1 times y plus 3. And that's going to equal to negative y minus 3. So we put that down, negative y minus 3. Step 3, subtract by flipping the signs and adding. So negative 1y plus y goes away. I'm left with negative 7. And then step 4 would have been bring down the next term, but since we don't have any next terms left, so to end this with the remainder, since it's a negative 7, we'll say minus a 7 over y plus 3. All right, so my answer is y squared minus 4y minus 1 minus 7 over y plus 3. Okay, there we go. Hope this helps.